Welcome to Larking Gowen Insights, accountancy and business advice for all, a series that gives you bite-sized tips and guidance on tax, funding, legislation, reforms and much more. With case studies, business advisory and sector specials and even interviews, our team of experts are committed to helping you navigate the world of accounting and finance with a variety of presenters from across our specialisms. So, let's get on with today's show.
Hi, my name's Rachel Morris and today I'm with Carl Boardman, who is an accountant within our medical team at Larking Gowen. Today we're going to be discussing the world of cloud accounting within the medical team, which is quite a niche area but hopefully something that you'll all find very useful and hopefully help you in the future.
We thought it'd be useful just to give you a bit of background in terms of where we've got to date. I've been in the medical team looking after GP practices for a little over 20 years, and digital has been around for a good number of those years. Well, we started transitioning clients over to software probably about 8 or 9 years ago, and it's really picked up a lot of momentum. There's a huge host of benefits from being on cloud software. So if you're not already on cloud, the reason for talking to you today is to just highlight some of those and encourage you to get in touch.
So the points that we're going to be covering today is what is cloud accounting, why we think that you should make the change, and detailing all those benefits. And we're not just going to list those out, we're going to highlight various points that we've found with our clients who have been using cloud accounting for a number of years now, the benefits that they have found from using this system. We'll also talk about disadvantages of staying on desktop software and also highlight common concerns that have been highlighted. Mainly these have all been resolved in the past few years and you won't find an issue.
Yeah, so I guess we come from slightly different backgrounds on this. So I've been in the medical team, as I said, for a good number of years. Rachel, you're a bit newer to us, aren't you? But have got a lot of experience in digital generally.
Yep, so I've been with Larking Gowen now 13 years, working in the business and private division. So I've not just seen this from a medical perspective, I've also seen it from your smaller companies and businesses, which so far it's all been very positive feedback.
Yeah, and we're not just talking about the core accounting, are we? It's much more than that. There's a huge host of reports and management information that you can get out of the software to kind of help with real-time decision making, help you to sort of understand where the year to date is going, what profitability is like, and a whole host of other information that you can use. So I guess first of all, Rachel, what would you say are the main benefits of cloud accounting?
When we talk about cloud accounting, from our perspective, there's two main softwares that we've been using within Larking Gowen. They are Xero and QuickBooks, which I'm sure you've all seen some lovely adverts on the telly in the evening, which gets you all excited to move over. The benefits, I could go on for hours, if I'm honest, from what we've found with clients using the system, but obviously you don't all want to sit here for hours listening to me rabbit on. So just to give you sort of a brief idea of the main benefits that we've come up with, to start with is the record keeping. How many of you are fed up of having boxes and boxes of records kept in your attic or in rooms that are just taking up space? Then every year you have to drag it all along to the accountants for them to prepare the account. With cloud-based accounting, we use various add-on apps such as Dex Prepare. What happens there is you take a photo of the invoice. The system is clever enough to pick up a lot of the details, such as like the date, the invoice number. It also gets clever as time goes along. So if generally that invoice goes to a specific category, it will do that automatically for you. Will get uploaded onto your chosen cloud accounting, and HMRC will see that as your records. So you no longer need to keep boxes and boxes of records taking up your space that could be utilised better.
I think just to add context to that, obviously we're coming out of the pandemic now, but certainly we found going back a couple of years when everyone was working from home, that was a huge benefit to a lot of businesses. Getting records from one place to another was challenging, so there was no, if you had cloud accounting, no reason to do that because everything is in the software. It really does make things a lot easier to keep on top of the information.
Yeah, and it also made from our perspective easier. So you're not having to pay for time where we're trawling through records trying to find a specific invoice, because when you're on the cloud accounting, you can click on the transaction, click on the invoice, and there it pops up on the screen. If it's then posted to a slightly incorrect category, we can then easily change that. So it's not such an issue going forward, saving time, which I think that is a major point with this cloud accounting. It's the time saving, not just for us, but for you as well. There's lots of various attributes to the software that reduces the time spent bookkeeping, and your time can be utilized with more important things.
So you mentioned time savings there, Rachel. I guess if I was a client sitting here listening to this, I would be thinking that's all very well and good, but how long does it take to start to see those benefits? Is it fairly quick, or is there a lot of learning to get through? Because obviously it's a change of approach.
So, of course, there's always going to be a few teething issues initially when you change onto a new system that will need to be learned. That's something that we as a firm can offer. We can set up the chart of accounts, so that's set up specifically for your practice with all the headings that you require. We
I
offer
guess, sorry to interject. I guess for a medical practice, that's quite specific, isn't it? What we're trying to do on that front is just make sure that the chart of accounts is fit for purpose for each practice, and also sort of match it to our year-end accounts so that everything looks familiar. And when you get into reporting, the management information, the profit and loss, all comes through in a similar format to what you're used to.
Yes, definitely. So with the chart of accounts, we set that up so it'll be very similar to your final accounts. How we actually prepare the accounts at the year end when we do the accounts is we make the adjustments on the actual cloud software. That then means that when you look back and go, oh, where should I analyze this to? Where have I put it in the past? That information should be correct, because we have then looked at that and made sure any adjustments that have been made by us are made also on your cloud accounting. So there's no worry of it going to the wrong place. As I said, we provide training. If one day you are slightly stuck on a query and you think, oh gosh, that person's not working today or they're on annual leave, you could ring the majority of our staff and anyone would be able to either assist you with your query or point you in the right direction, because the knowledge on these softwares is growing daily and very high within the firm. So, as I said about the training, one thing that we've found is that bite-sized training is the best way going forward. Learning lots of information all at once can be slightly daunting and overwhelming. So, what we tend to do is we have an initial training session which lasts between 1 and 2 hours. We go through the main ways of doing your bookkeeping. You can ask questions. We generally do this all on Teams, which means that we can share screens so we can see what you're doing or vice versa. Generally with the training, what we do is we talk you through, or the practice manager or the bookkeeper, how to make those adjustments, how to do the posting, because we've generally found that when people actually do the process themselves, they remember it a lot better. We can also record our training sessions, so if you need to look back at a later date at what we talked about, then you've got that recording available. What we've found generally is, because at the moment we are past most year ends of March, the end of March, that with the training, by doing it slightly after the year end, it helps because you have a slight duplication of the records. That way, when you're doing the transfer onto Xero or QuickBooks, you've still got your previous software available to check back on. That just gives people that extra level of confidence in the work that they're doing, which we've found very valuable.
That was going to be one of my questions in terms of when is the best point to change. I guess year end is sensible if possible, but like you say, if you're post year end or sometime after the year end, actually it's not a bad thing, because you've got a good few months of the current year which you can go back and repost. And on that, I think people perhaps see that is going to take an extra chunk of time. But because of the way that the software works, you've got a live bank feed which picks up all the transactions from the bank. It's very quick and easy to then allocate those to the right income and expense headings. And the software learns as you allocate things. So the more you put through, the more it starts to recognize transactions or recurring transactions, and then suggest where to post those. So actually, moving a couple of months after year end is quite beneficial, especially from that initial training point. Do you find that, Rachel? It's quite
Yeah,
useful.
100%. Like I said previously, with the training, it is an ongoing system that we use. So you have your first initial training session, followed by catch-up sessions, sort of half an hour, once you've actually had a go at using the system, because we're not all going to be able to take in all the information from the beginning. There are also lots of really helpful QuickBooks training sessions available on the internet, sorry, that will be able to talk you through sort of common queries that people have. Like you said as well, with the bank feed, this is a really valuable tool. So the information put onto the cloud accounting software is uploaded directly from the bank. Once you've put your invoices on using the add-on that you choose, which generally we use a software called Dext, you can then match the invoice to the amount going through the bank, and then that's posted straight onto your system, which provides you with up-to-date information, which then helps with the reporting functions on the system.
And that must reduce the margin for error as well. We've seen it or we've seen it in especially Iris software in the past, where the first thing you look at is the bank. If the bank doesn't reconcile, you've then got a lot of work to do to kind of work out where things have gone wrong. I guess the bank feed eliminates all of that pretty much, doesn't it? You've got a live record of the data as it comes through, so everything should be more accurate.
So in the past, I remember when I first joined Larking Gowen, there was so much time spent reconciling the bank, ticking it back manually, making sure that no transactions are missed. When you've got the actual reconciliation process completed on the cloud accounting, that removes all that possibility of error, because you know all the transactions are going through the bank, are posted onto your system, and you also know that the final bank balance at the end of the period that you're reconciling agrees to what the bank statement's saying. So, like you said, Carl, it saves a huge amount of time and reduces the chances of error massively. There are other add-ons and processes within the software that also helps with things like this. So it will highlight any abnormalities, any duplications. It will also highlight your sales invoices and your purchase invoices. It will split them between what tax code they've been posted to. So if you're VAT registered, you can check in each code which VAT codes that your sales and expenses are posted to, and make sure that there's nothing that looks odd, and the software will highlight anything that is different to usual, which is also a massive benefit and reduces a large amount of abnormalities.
So there's a real clear time saving here, isn't there? Just in terms of the data entry, you've got automated bank feeds. As you say, you can import the invoices, so you've got all of those saved on the file to either refer to at a later date, or as you're kind of looking through management reports. That really does kick in straight away, doesn't it? Once you've got over the initial, how do I post these transactions, this time saving is more or less instant, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think another way to look at it is not just time saving, which is a huge benefit, because at the end of the day, no one has enough time. There's always other things to do. Another major benefit to the software is the reporting functions available. So this
Yeah.
just increases the information available to the partners, the practice managers massively. We can set up management accounts that get sent out to the partners monthly, so they can see how the business has been doing that month. If there is anything that looks odd, that can then be looked into. We have set up on all of our medical GP practices reports that are split down, so between enhanced services, which are then split between the DES, the LES, and will look the same as they will on your accounts, other than we split those monthly. So you can then see monthly trends. If one month does look particularly high, you can look into that and go, what's gone on here? And that also can quite quickly highlight any issues to the software or even the process that's been done in the background. Maybe you've gone, oh, that looks a lot lower. Maybe we haven't reported that we've done that income for that month.
And I think that's a key area, isn't it? At year end, historically, we used to look through everything to see if there'd been any missed income. Now you've got the monthly reports set up in the software, and a quick glance at those throughout the year can quickly highlight, where you're missing something or where something hasn't come in yet, so that you can chase it up and get that income in a lot sooner than you would otherwise.
Definitely. And another piece of software that we've found very useful for our clients is the cash flow, which is available. This can be done as add-ons. There are systems within the basic cloud accounting software that will provide you with the information to help you with cash flow. Cash flow is so valuable within your business. Without cash, you can't continue trading. So what the system will do is it will look at regular trends of where money's paid out, money's come in. It will also look at your receivables, your payables, the due dates, and give you a real good idea of how your cash flow is looking over, depending on which software you use. Some are 3 months, some are 9 months.
So I think we've talked about some of the benefits there. I guess the other obvious question is, what are the disadvantages to the software? But I can't honestly think of any. I would actually say there's more disadvantages staying on non-cloud software.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. It's hard to think of disadvantages of moving over to a cloud-based accounting system, whereas the desktop software, there are quite a few disadvantages I could think of. One of them being the cost. You'll find the actual annual cost of having that software via the desktop is a lot higher than it is through the cloud accounting, which that's another cost saving, which is
Well, we've got
fantastic.
making tax digital at some
D- uh,
stage.
yeah, at some point you're going to be required to move over because of HMRC's new rules and regulations. A lot of you will already have had to or have found the transition to the software important because of making tax digital. But yeah, as we said, going forward, HMRC are going to enforce this anyway. There won't be the information available as quickly on the desktop version, and generally, like we said, there's so many time saving points with the cloud accounting, which then means that the desktop software's got to be less efficient.
And I think you've already mentioned, from our point of view, historically, if you're not on the cloud, we can't see your data unless you send us a backup, which you probably only do once a year. Whereas with this, any number of people can log in at any one time. So, we see it on a daily basis almost. You get a client with a query, they pick up the phone, they can tell you what they're having issues with. We can log in live, see what's going on, either unpick it or just steer them in the right direction as to what to do, and resolve the issues as we go along, which is again saves a lot of effort at the year end.
And something just to highlight on that point, when you do add other staff members to the cloud accounting, you can decide what they will be able to see. So you might have some staff that you just want to be able to raise invoices. You might have some staff where you just want them to be able to see the reports. You can select the level visibility that they will have within the software.
So I suppose if putting myself in the client's shoes, especially if you're on IRIS and you're a VAT registered practice, I think the main concerns we have is over how you do the VAT returns. So IRIS GP accounts, does a lot of the partial exemption calculations for you. How do you attack that for a practice that's moved over to cloud software and still has the partial exemption to deal with?
So, being in the medical team, a large majority of our clients who use the cloud accounting are partially exempt. So, we've had a number of years to pinpoint the best way of dealing with this. We can set up the VAT codes, we can name those so that they're easy for you to understand. We can work with you so that you understand which VAT codes you select when you do the bookkeeping. What then happens is there's a report that we can take straight out of the software and put that into the partial exemption workings. With the partial exemption workings, this is a spreadsheet that we can provide you with. It details which boxes need to go into the workings. It puts out a number at the bottom, and you can then post that as one adjustment on your software and then submit your VAT return. The actual partial exemption point used to be a big turn off for people for using cloud accounting, whereas now it really doesn't make any extra work.
And when you factor in all the other benefits and sort of time savings, actually doing one quick spreadsheet for partial exemption, it isn't really a big deal, because you'll have already saved a lot of time in the general prep of that month's VAT return. What about security and things like that? Because obviously it's cloud based. The data is stored online, isn't it, rather than being on someone's actual computer?
Yeah, so the security is something that both the systems that we use for cloud accounting pride themselves on. A lot of clients I have had early days that were a bit nervous about having their bank feed connected to the software, but the security levels on this are the same as if you had your internet banking. You reconnect every 3 months just to say that, yes, I'm still happy for my information to be passed over. And even if the bank is connected, it doesn't mean that you have a member of staff can go onto your bank and make payments. It just means that the information is passed on to the cloud accounting software.
So I guess it's no different to anything else, really, where data for everything these days is more online than on an actual computer. I think the other thing to mention is the multi-factor authentication. When you try and log in, you usually have to get a code sent to your phone. Or an email sent to prove you are who you say you are. So there's extra sort of security in place when you're logging in, so that not anyone can access the data. We've mentioned cost. I mean, I guess it depends which package you go for, but having had a look at the comparable prices of Sage, if you're still on Sage software or Iris, as we've mentioned, actually some of the cloud software is cheaper, isn't it? And you get the benefit, especially if you get the license through us, of free access to Dext, which you've talked about for invoice scanning. I think that's that's not really an issue here, is it? There's potentially an extra saving.
Yeah, definitely. So like you said, you then have access to the Dex Prepare if you have your subscription come through Larking Gowen. This is a great software that you download the app onto your phone. Whenever you have an invoice, you take a photo and that uploads it directly onto Dex for you to then deal with. The other option is a lot of people now receive their invoices via email. You get provided with an email address when Dex Prepare is set up, and you just forward your invoices to that specific email. That then also puts it into Dex. There are also other softwares available. There's one called GoFetch, where it goes and finds your invoices that are on a login, such as your light and heat. You might have a login that your invoices are raised on there monthly. It will go and find the invoices and then put them onto the system for you as well. So, like I've said previously, there's so much more information available, but at points, you as a practice are probably going to want specific information. One thing that I've set up with one of my clients is we go out to the clients. I've then had a meeting with all the partners. We've discussed the information that they would like to be provided to them from the reports, how often they'd like it to be provided to them, and when. So what I've then done is I've gone up in the background, I've created the reports that they'd like. We can then set those up so that they're automatically sent to their various accounts each month, and then they have the information available when they want it. I've also set it up with the partners so that they can't adjust information, because that's not always overly helpful when people make adjustments. They're better off coming back and speaking to us, and they're provided with that level of access. The reporting available can be set up for your needs and tailored to how you would like them. There's so many functions available on the system with the reports. There's bound to be lots of information that you will find help your business going forward.
I think that's key, isn't it? And it's not just reports that will help us, as you say. It is really useful information, for you on a day-to-day basis as well. We obviously get a lot out of it at year end, but there's so much more information that you can get. I guess just thinking out loud in terms of benefits that I've seen. We regularly get asked how much a practice or how much partners might be able to take out, certainly around January and July time, as additional drawings to help cover tax. Previously, it was really difficult to judge that, because unless you were working on the year-end accounts and had a feel for undrawn profit, it was difficult to commit to advising on additional drawings. Now we can see the data live. So as I've said, we can log in at any point in time, run some profit and loss reports, do a bit of analysis, make sure everything's up to date and as it should be, and then give you a much more accurate indication of levels of undrawn profits. It also helps with things, thinking on that basis of annual estimates of pensionable pay. So when we're looking at those, we used to prepare them based on the last set of accounts that had been done, which were often a year or two earlier, whereas now we can look at the current year data, and whilst there's still some estimate into the future, we've got a much better feel for how the practice is currently performing. And I think certainly in the last couple of years, as profits have gone up and down, that's really useful to sort of have that live information. So I guess if we've sold you on the benefits, what are the next steps? Where do we go from here? How can we assist our clients with the transition?
So if you do believe that the time is now to transition over to cloud-based accounting, please do contact us. We'd be more than happy to have a telephone or a Teams conversation with you, or a one-on-one meeting. We can talk about what your needs are, what software we think will benefit you, the costs involved, and what reports we think will assist you going forward. We will also be hosting a webinar in the next few weeks. This will give you the opportunity to actually have a look at what the software looks like, how it works, and also ask any questions that you may have at that point before you do make that final decision to move over. And I really hope that today mine and Carl's passion of cloud-based accounting will help you make that decision to move over, because we truly do believe that this is a software that will help you going forward and help your business thrive.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. We hope you found that useful. We look forward to hearing from you soon. The links for contacting us will all be in the show notes.
Thank you for joining us for Larking Gowen Insights, Accountancy and Business Advice for All. Don't forget, you can find more information about today's topic and more about how our team of experts can help you in your business by visiting our website, larking-gowen.co.uk. Join us again next time for another fascinating insight into the world of accounting and finance.